pet-human bond as a step towards inclusive lifestyles, a reflective journey from Sri Lanka towards the summit. One of the primary challenges society must face today is to help people understand and proactively engage in a lifestyle that encourages or recognizes that all species and the environment we live in are an integrated whole. To create in people the ability to see the importance of keeping front and center the impact of our activities, sometimes small, sometimes routine, but they impact our environment. This year's COVID crisis, the increasing strength and frequency of storms, melting glaciers, are all real and serious threats that will only worsen if we ignore their root cause. Let me read you a quote by Robert McFarlane that I really like because I find mountains inspiring. Most of us exist for most of the time in worlds which are humanly arranged, themed, and controlled. One forgets that there are environments which do not respond to the flick of a switch or the twist of a dial, and which have their own rhythms and orders of existence. Mountains correct this amnesia. The COVID experience, I hope, has also contributed towards correcting this amnesia. How is all this related to vets and pets? Well, many of us humans have become very individualistic, even self-centered. A pet is the first step, and a close one, a small step, towards looking a bit beyond ourselves and bonding with another species. Because of the numerous direct feel-good benefits pets bring to our lives, from reduced blood pressure and cholesterol to companionship and the opportunity to socialize. This is an easy step to take. Many are already there. A step too far? Some, in fact, have taken this idea further. Yes, thinking of pets as family members has done a world of good to ensure people are fully engaged and provide good pet care and welfare. However, some take this to the extreme and see their pets as a small, furry human. Anthropomorphizing too much causes its own set of problems. We as vets need to gently discourage this attitude and instead encourage a more balanced approach. With cats, this problem is less central, not as significant. Most cat owners acknowledge that cats are real cats, that they're different, that they have their own species-specific characteristics. This does not make them any less wonderful pets. They are loved for being different. Cats, therefore, are a good agent or avenue to encourage people to reflect and value the uniqueness of a companion who is, in fact, different. Looking at our pets or considering our pets as small humans takes away from respecting and acknowledging that pets are of a different species with unique needs, requirements, and personalities. Not fur babies, really, but wonderful and interesting animals who have learned to mesh beautifully into our lives and lifestyles and who are easy to love. As vets, we should encourage people to celebrate and value the differences while recognizing the similarities. So, where does my interest in all this come from? I started my career as a wildlife biologist with a strong interest in animal behavior, an area I have an abiding interest in to date. However, after returning to live in Sri Lanka with a really wonderful German Shepherd as a companion, I was stressed and saddened, really, by the minimalist standards of veterinary medicine here. And for anyone who owns a German Shepherd, you will realize that they're not the healthiest of animals, and not having a vet around is really stressful. My journey as a vet started in Sri Lanka, where I changed careers and entered vet school. It was quite a culture shock since most of my earlier studies had been in the US. It was to be the first of many challenges encountered in the journey through the veterinary profession in a developing country. I have seen both sides, the developed West, the still struggling South Asia, and can understand the disparities. It's a primary reason we have such empathy and insight about the limitations vets face in Asia and probably most developing countries. As I see it, there are two significant roadblocks, with many small rockfalls in between, obstructing the way forward. Firstly, Possibly most importantly, one doesn't really have the quality and quantity of required knowledge, primarily because it's just not available, not accessible, not nice to have knowledge, but even essential knowledge. This has improved somewhat because of the greater access to continuing education through organizations such as WSAVA, and now post COVID, the variety of web based programs such as this one. Access to these are still not widespread, however, and knowledge continues to be a primary limiting factor. Secondly, you don't have the money, and in fact, most of your clients don't either. This makes it hard to acquire the knowledge you need. It limits access to international exposure and significantly limits the quality of service you are able to provide. And sometimes your clients don't even want it. Aspects of the journey most of us in South Asia are awfully familiar with. All of us, vets, nurses, and probably many pet owners in the West, understand high quality veterinary care is expensive. From procuring knowledge or learning, you just try to buy a veterinary textbook and you will realize what a bite it takes into your income. To equipment and high quality range of medications, it's all expensive, especially when it's all imported and almost nothing is available locally. These limitations impacts all pets, but disproportionately affects cats given their special needs. Most vets in the region still treat cats like small dogs. Feline medicine is poorly taught, if at all, at vet school. And the significant species-specific variations, such as drug tolerances, are often overlooked. I have seen prescriptions given for Panadol, acetaminophen, to cats by vets. Most feline-specific meds are unavailable. For example, pain meds and antipyretics. Palatable feline-friendly formulations are almost unheard of. Those products that are available, such as, say, the TriCat vaccine, are too expensive and few cats are even vaccinated. Most cats are outdoor pets and often semi-feral, making handling and restraint especially challenging. Heavy-handed restraint is often used. The lack of knowledge here is particularly problematic, both for the cat and for the vet, in fact. Put this in the context of Asia or any developing region, where the average person with what is considered a good income earns about $500 per month. You can clearly see the size of the mountain in front of you. It's definitely intimidating. It pushes vets and owners both to cut corners and to take shortcuts, often a road to disaster for many pets, but especially feline pets. This is where true social entrepreneurship comes in. Yes, you need to have a robust business model and make money to provide the quality and still survive, since we all accept that quality is expensive. But as a vet, your focus, the star you follow, the peak you aim for, must be to improve the profession. Quality and teaching have to be front and center. This must be the beginning and end of your journey. It's tough work and a demanding uphill journey. Yet I know it's possible because here in Sri Lanka at PetVet, we've done it. As a fitting example, PetVet is an ISFM certified cat practice, the first and only one in South Asia. We are silver certified but going for gold. All that's left on the list is a dental x-ray, so we know we will get there. It's been one step at a time, a slow and steady journey, as with climbing any mountain. We have pulled and brought along several other people and practices with us. Now I want to push for a big change, a broader achievement, a transformative change. Not just to reach base camp, I feel we've already done that, but really reach a peak. And to do this, I have moved the spotlight to focus on a broad and powerful idea, human-animal bond. Veterinarians and our paraprofessionals, by definition and training, play the primary role of ensuring people and animals have a mutually beneficial relationship. It's our job to understand both pets and their people, and then work to ensure effective communication and understanding between them. This is fundamentally what a vet does. At least that's my opinion. What we need to do is broaden the scope and help to radiate this pet-people bond outwards to create inclusive relationships. We want to move people from understanding and appreciating pets to be more inclusive in a general sense. We as vets sometimes forget to do this ourselves. We focus on the narrow, on a specific illness, for example. We forget to keep the bigger picture in mind. One way in which we can approach this is to broaden our own clinics and hospital services, create more integrated spaces. Many practices have made a start by creating special areas to include the needs of cats, play areas for kids. We need to create spaces to integrate different aspects of our specialities into a more robust whole. These spaces should be focused on opportunities to build the people-pet bond. A small cafe area where a client can enjoy a coffee with their pet while waiting. And has anyone tried a cat cafe? Do you have a clinic cat? Have you seen how they operate as therapy pets for owners who are waiting for a procedure or to pick up their own? My plan is to take this to a bigger level where pets, people, and the environment interact on a regular basis by creating multi-purpose spaces. In economic terms, you would call it a mixed development. The awareness of other species and the natural environment around us and our interconnected needs have to become commonplace. Like going to a mall is commonplace. That is what I expect to achieve with this novel project proposed. A veterinary practice can create integration not just by creating special spaces, but also by creating special services. One area I would like to integrate into the behavior and training arm of the practice going forwards is therapy pets, an area well recognized in the West, but almost non-existent in Sri Lanka and likely South Asia. Services and acceptance of the differently abled are generally poor, and therefore therapy pets would be especially useful in this part of the world, a real support for people who are often isolated and ignored. But even in the West, it is often not closely integrated into veterinary services, but rather looked at as a separate entity. Take the case of cats, not often considered as therapy animals, though we know they are, and can be of great support and companionship to elders, to people with special needs, and in some cases, even the immune compromised. They have the special advantage of being small, generally gentle, easy to care for, and exceptionally clean. They carry little in the way of disease if good health and hygiene is maintained. Just a good pet for the elderly. But how many practices have active programs to promote this? Do we have special house visits and checkup plans available? It can even be a nurse visit. Have you ever considered taking that super socialized clinic cat for therapy visits to a senior citizen? I think as vets, there's a lot more we can do. We need to seriously think outside the box when it comes to promoting the cat-people bond. This type of project is especially important as Asia modernizes, and many city beautification plans lead to a predominance of no-pet zones. In Colombo, there is almost nowhere left where pets can be taken, even for a walk. A combination of city beautification plans and a lack of responsible pet ownership, a lot of stray animals, have collided into an almost no pets allowed city. My new proposal involves using the infrastructure of a hospital to provide a series of value-added services with minimal added cost or resource use, a holistic, layered structure based on the sustainability paradigm, where each resource is looked at from many creative angles to ensure maximum utilization. The project is a state-of-the-art veterinary hospital and teaching center, integrated into a park-like environment with a broad variety of creative pet people interactive activities and spaces. Also included and superimposed on this state-of-the-art veterinary hospital is a variety of clinical teaching programs. The trained professional and paraprofessional staff serving pet health needs will also use their expertise to teach institute students. Infrastructure focused on addressing client demands, such as the dog training center and boarding kennels, will provide practical training venues for paraprofessional training. Cat boarding is another relatively new area for Sri Lanka, an uncharted area. We expect to see an emerging demand here. Paraprofessional services such as veterinary nursing and pet training are just beginning to become an area of interest in Sri Lanka. It's a wide open, highly rewarding, and new career pathway for many. There is a great need for a place where this can be taught and promoted, which is one of the things this project will provide. As an important component of this integrated concept, and in line with the goal of promoting progressive cities that accept the integral value of pets, a pet-friendly apartment is envisaged. In Colombo today, many people choose the security and convenience of apartment living. Capitalizing on this growing demand, we expect to give Colombo residents access to pet-friendly apartments, likely to be a first for Sri Lanka. Most pet-friendly apartments, even in other parts of the world, are usually normal apartments that gives one permission to keep a pet. What we envision is a true pet-friendly space with special architectural features to facilitate comfortable living for both pet and person, even in smaller spaces. On the flip side of the coin, the apartment complex will include a public gym, pool, restaurant, walking tracks, childcare center, play areas, all doubling to provide the institute staff with a range of needed support services. It creates shared green spaces where people and pets can interact positively, which is the foundation of this novel multidimensional vision for the project. As a bonus, the clinic gains an integral pool of long-term clients for its range of services. All these aspects will also improve the financial robustness of the project. Veterinarians can and should use our entrepreneurship, our inclination to help, our knowledge of the pet-people bond to expand beyond our traditional practice limits. First, by helping people see another species for what it is, the wonderful and varied differences, as well as the fundamental similarities, to showcase inclusiveness. We can have a much broader impact than we generally think. The project I'm embarking on, the next stage of the journey, sustainable development in all its varied contexts, is an underlying strategy throughout. I believe that this paradigm, when applied to a business model, results in unprecedented degrees of value addition. The project envisioned addresses 8 of the 17 United Nations global goals for sustainable development. For example, good health and well-being. As we all know, it's very much impacted by owning a pet. Goal 4, quality education. Again, as a clinical teaching institute for both paraprofessional and professional teaching, this will be an important step. Gender equality. As we know, in Asia and other parts of the world, many vets and vet nurses are women. But in Asia, few support services exist or any encouragement even for women to perform effectively in these roles. Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Again, by opening doors for a varied and creative range of paraprofessional services, it allows many people to work in the SME sector. Reduced inequalities, again, by providing paraprofessional training, opportunity to learn skills such as dog training, which are available to a lot of people without formal education. And goal 11, sustainable cities and communities by promoting integrated, inclusive environments where pet and people live together in cities. Partnership for goals, again, by partnering with a lot of international organizations, universities, and vets, we will be meeting this goal. In addition, by ensuring the new buildings and operations meet green building standards, we will indirectly support goals 7, 12, and 15. The overarching ambition of this project is to provide knowledge, time, and space for the human-animal bond to flourish, to encourage people to care for another species and our environment, for this to become a pleasurable routine. a habit. Are we there yet? Like all mountain adventures, there is an extensive preparation phase. The next phase of the journey is starting. To end with a quote that comes from this region, and which is even more irrelevant in today's days, by Mahatma Gandhi. The greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And it's our job as vets to make sure they're treated well. Thank you.